Live stream today with a very special guest, Autumn Smith, who is pulling double duty on the speaker circuit today. I was just watching her this morning. Welcome, Autumn. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a busy day, but I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming over here. We're going to be getting into what we're talking about today, which is student-led initiatives, and specifically the work that you're doing over there at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies in Monterey, or MIIS, as we understandably call it, because that's a mouthful. But before we get into it today, give us a plug for what you did this morning. Tell us about that. So where can people find it? All of that stuff. Give me the pitch.
Yeah. So this morning, I was lucky enough to join the spring series for multilingual media on diversity and inclusion in the language industry in linguistics. I was one of 6 panelists, so it was a full packed house, and we all came from different backgrounds, different history, but one thing that we shared communally was our Black experience within linguistics and kind of the lack of diversity that we felt and where we felt that was stemming from. So it's about an hour and a half of us kind of examining where the issues lie and making jokes about Rihanna and Amanda Gorman. And,
right.
I think it was a pretty interesting talk that went a lot of places.
Well, I was absolutely fascinated myself. I was watching, I couldn't catch like the first 20 minutes, but I went back and rewatched it because, let's face it, I knew I was talking to you later today and I didn't want to be caught off guard. But it was fascinating, and I think I left a comment that was like, oh man, we only have 5 minutes left to talk about Amanda Gorman, because that is fascinating...
Michael should not have done that.
I'm going to have words with Michael. But tell us about Amanda. No, Tucker. Focus. I don't want this to turn into you did you're done this morning, right? So
we
I don't
need another part 2 for that.
I think there is a part 2 that is needed for that, but I don't want to put you on the spot. Let's talk about CampLoc.
My baby, yes.
Your baby.
CampLoc is a initiative that I started with a group of students last year at Middlebury Institute. Essentially, we were looking around at the other programs at the school and realizing that they all had really cool initiatives where they got to go and work in the field. Like the nuclear terrorism students go to Europe and work on a nuclear power plant, and they get to literally come up with a strategy with this team. And we're here basically in the heart of the localization industry, right by Silicon Valley.
So it's like it's literally camping?
No.
Is it glamping?
Okay, that was a really corny. Okay, we had an hour-long session trying to figure out what to name this.
Only an hour?
Yeah,
that is speedy. That is speedy.
Oh, good. I'm glad to know we're the more efficient side of the naming process.
Yeah.
But it was this idea of taking students and leading them into this immersive experience where we can really go to companies and talk to people about what's happening and not just read about it on blogs or go to events where we don't get to actually interact with people. Mm-hmm. And we kind of felt like we were being the camp counselors in a sense. And so we were going to make camp t-shirts and everything, like different squads. We nixed that idea, but that is where the name CampLoc came about.
Okay. Yeah. Now that we're clear on that, clear on the important stuff, I'm sorry to derail the conversation. Keep going.
But yeah, so essentially, the whole point of this organization was that we felt like there's obviously a disconnect between academia and any professional field.
Yes.
But the whole mission of MIIS is to create immersive learning experiences for students, and we were still feeling that gap. We were still feeling like this is academia, and we were being looked at as students, even though a lot of us are working professionals.
Right.
And we wanted to bridge that gap through our own initiative. And so we started reaching out to companies, and we said, hey, we want to do a spring trip, week long, get to as many companies as we can, and just learn about what you guys are doing, learn about how we can start contributing now, and foster a stronger relationship between these companies and the Institute.
And that's super important, because that's like just the networking aspect, just the cross-pollination aspect, just the learning from as many different sources as you can aspect of it. It's so important, right? in conjunction with the education, right? Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
think there's because I say that all the time. Like I always say, when we talk about this disconnect between academia and business world or the real world or whatever people want to call it. But the reality is like I don't think they're meant to be connected. There are two different things, but there needs to be systems in place or expectations set or what have you to bridge that gap, so
Mm-hmm.
to speak. Right? It's kind of where I go with that, and so I love to see programs like this that help bridge that gap. Question: you mentioned companies that are coming. What are they talking about? Who's coming? What are they talking about? Like, what can people expect from this?
Yeah, so to date, we've worked with about 24 different companies in some capacity, or we've been in contact with them. Some of the companies I can name off that we've worked with Salesforce, with Facebook, we worked with Sony, we worked with the team from Keywords Studio, Supertext. We're trying to get as many genres as we can because the key component is exposure and building bridges. So we don't want to just connect to the client side companies or the vendor side companies or just one vertical. We want to connect across the board because students should know what opportunities exist across the board.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And I see you have going back to our website here. For those of you that when I was on the screen earlier, this is the CampLoc website. It's camploc.middcreate.net. That's it's the Middlebury. Is it the Middlebury
Yeah.
okay, Middlebury domain. So if you want more information, you can go find out about it here. But I see we have some co-conspirators here. I know some of these folks.
Yeah, these were the crazy folks that agreed to hop on board when I said we have 2 months to come up with a 1 week spring conference. Are you in? Uh, so I'm extremely grateful for them.
All right. Well, best of luck to you guys. Best of luck to you guys.
It actually it was in October of last year when we decided to do this, and we were going to do it in March. And so if you think about that timeline, you'll realize that
Oh,
we spent
yeah.
2.5 months planning and had to cancel the event a week before it actually happened.
Yeah.
Yes. So the real event that we've planned will be happening next spring. And so we're reaching out to companies to start thinking about that. But this year, what we did is we did a completely virtual version. And the main point of the conversation was we would reach out to companies and say, hey, we want students to learn about your company and we want to do it in a way that actually highlights who you are.
Hmm.
So the format is up to you. Whatever you're trying to do, we can facilitate everything. And so with
And
Supertext, we
and
did a
this
great.
this isn't like a job fair, right? This isn't
No,
like you're
it's
not
not
reaching
about
out
employment.
saying like, "Hey, help with these people." This is just because like if someone reaches out to me, like no offense, like if you reach out to me and it's like, "Hey, Autumn, let's talk," right? But
Mm-hmm.
if someone I haven't heard of reaches out to me and says like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing, and can you talk
Mm-hmm.
to me?" I'm thinking, what do they want, right?
Yeah.
What's in it from them? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I'm an old cynic, but what is your response to the old cynics of the world? Because I'm sure you have a great response.
Yeah, from the get-go, we explained like this is all about professional development and helping to develop the new generation of localization
Yeah.
professionals. So we literally tell our students when they sign up and during the event, do not ask any recruiting questions, do not ask about jobs. That's not what this is about. This is for your growth and for your understanding of the industry. And we make that very, very clear. Because it's not, jobs are great, but you can't go up to everyone and be like, hey, give me a job. That's not how getting a job actually works,
Yeah.
even though a lot of people think that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you've got that experience.
Jobs are very tricky in
Mm-hmm.
every industry, but this industry is no different, right? And this
Mm.
this is graduation season, right?
It is.
And this is the
It,
time of year that I talk to a lot of people, right, who are like
mm,
reaching out saying like, "Hey, I'm looking for this role. I'm looking for that role,"
mm-hmm.
and what I tell the folks from Middlebury Institute pretty consistently is leverage your network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leverage, and your network is bigger than you think your network is.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Mm-hmm.
network is the connections that you made while at Middlebury.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, the student body there is very active in industry events, going up to all
Mm-hmm.
the iMugs and the conferences when they're in town. all of that stuff. But your network is also people you've never met before. If you're
Mm-hmm.
an alumni, right? Work those alumni associations. We were just talking with Caitlin the other day. She was on here.
Yes.
And I think you saw it because I think you're like in the comments or you commented
I
on.
was so excited.
Yeah, and
I love Caitlin.
Caitlin's a
What she does for the students here is amazing.
yeah, Caitlin's a pleasure for sure. But so many of these programs out there. So what is the difference between what Caitlin's doing over there and what you're doing? Just so people are clear.
Yeah, so what Caitlin is doing is what you were talking about, like leveraging that network and helping students tap into that
Hmm.
a lot easier because there are some students who take that initiative and are more
Well,
outgoing
just really
and they're
quickly
able.
for those people that are
Yeah.
listening right now, like what specific? Because Caitlin's setting up a mentorship
Yes.
program, right?
Yeah, so Caitlin runs the TLM mentorship program, and
Yeah.
the premise of that is connecting current students with second year students, for example, with students who have been in the program longer, or second year students with people who are alumni of the institute or professionals in the industry.
Hmm.
So my mentor, I had a mentor this year, was Aki Ito, who is the
Oh,
localization guy. He's
the
great.
localization guy and rock
And
star
rock
and
star.
I for some reason I just saw. Oh, you know why? You know why? Because I had your LinkedIn profile up here, and let's see if it still has it. This is the reason I know. Get out of here, messages. This is the reason I know. Oh, he's not here anymore. But he was here. You know how when you go to someone's LinkedIn profile and it says
Mhm.
like, "Would you recommend this person?" Um,
I hope it wasn't Japanese. He
it
would
was
definitely
Japanese.
win.
It was
Oh no.
Japanese. Maybe he's not here because maybe I clicked on him and I just
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about
you
it.
recommended him. It's okay.
None of the
My
above.
feelings aren't hurt.
All of you guys. I always feel the pressure. Like I don't want to endorse people because I feel the pressure. I'm like, I don't know. I've never heard Aki speak Japanese. I mean, he's from Japan, but should I
Yeah.
endorse him? No, I'm just kidding.
Endorse me.
I will.
Um, yes.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Well,
Do a live stream with me. That's how you get endorsements from Tucker
this
Johnson.
is the trick. Awesome. um, yeah, Akihito is my mentor, and he's been
Nice.
great for me in the sense that he is such a strong personality, and he knows, like, he's got the sales mentality, and I'm very like, I don't really know if I should do this. I'm a little hesitant, and he's just like, you have 5 seconds to make a decision. If you don't make a decision within 5 seconds, you've lost the opportunity. I was like, yes, sir.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong,
He's not.
right?
He's not.
And this is one of the biggest things that I find, bridging that gap between
Mm,
academia and business, and, working for a company instead of studying at a university, is timelines.
mm.
It's just timelines. Oh, Catherine. Catherine says we love Aki
Hi,
too. Hey,
Catherine.
Catherine. Oh yeah. By the way, if you guys are watching, like comments, subscribe, all of that stuff. I've got buttons. I'm just not doing my job today. There we go. Like and subscribe. Um, about bridging that gap. Where was I? We're talking about bridging the gap.
We're bridging the importance of bridging the gap, and my relationship with Akihito playing into that potentially. Not sure.
I don't know. I'm lost. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Catherine. Catherine, you screwed me up again. You screwed me up again, Catherine.
Dang it, Catherine. No,
No,
she's great.
it's just fine. So let's go back to this here. So, how
Yes.
can your company participate?
Mm. Yes. Oh, I remember
I'm,
we were talking about the
I can
difference between
I can just.
mentorship and CampLoc.
Oh yes, and yeah, we.
Okay.
here,
I was like,
here
before we go back.
yes. Mentorship and CampLoc. Bring it back because CampLoc is not mentorship, right?
It
Well,
is not.
it's everything's mentorship if you really want to get semantical about it. But yeah, it is not.
Catherine, you're throwing me off again. I'm like,
I'm
timer. I
ignoring the
don't
com. I'm
remember.
not looking.
Okay,
Not
okay, okay.
looking.
So,
Bye.
um,
Take them off. My button's not working. I can't get rid of them. Oh my
oh
goodness,
no.
they're here to stay.
Yeah, so what Caitlin's doing is more about making the personal one-on-one connections, and I think what we're aiming to do is to strengthen the relationship that Miss has with companies that are beyond the ones we've been working with now. Like
Okay.
there's lots of companies that students are interested in, and they'll never get a chance to hear from, and um, we have the time to be like, hey, I'm going to shoot an email. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they're willing to work with us. We'll do everything. They just have to show up. And it's trying to get a clearer picture of the opportunities that exist and showing students that and also showing the industry what we're doing as well, showing them that we are students, yes, but we have a lot of ideas about the localization industry that we're bringing with us a lot of knowledge that could help them as well. And so that's been the most fruitful part, I think, and what kind of sets us apart is the business level versus individual level.
And so it's just very very educational, right? It's just like
Yeah.
here's what's out there. And I remember thinking back when I was in college, we did much of similar stuff, but also at Middlebury, you guys have a lot of people that come in from outside of
Mm.
academia and come in from because
Yeah.
you're located there in Monterey. I know a lot of folks come in from Silicon Valley. I I used to fly in from Seattle.
Wow.
Not anymore though.
Nah.
Not anymore,
Um,
unfortunately.
we'll bring it back.
Yeah, I'm doing a virtual workshop these days,
Yes.
but yeah, it's not the same.
Hmm.
It's not the same.
It's not. And it's also in that sense, the reason why we were setting this up is because people do come in and we're very, very lucky to have the opportunities that we do. But a lot of the times the talks are very short. They're about an hour, maybe 15, 10 minutes of Q&A.
Mm.
What we were planning to do and what we're hoping to do in the future is like come in, we have some kind of tour of the facilities if that's available, and we do some kind of event that's tailored to what this company is doing. So for example, if there's a specific sector they're really interested, or if they have an awesome facility that's different, that stands out, like that they want to show off and talk about, like we can do that. We have where we had small breakout groups where it's like you're literally kind of getting a private mentoring session with one of the employees there and you're talking to them personally, one-on-one about their experience. I even think there was a localization scavenger hunt scheduled last year with a Claro. So that was what I was really bummed about. But it was just all
The
very different and
localization
all very
scavenger hunt.
intimate.
What does that look like?
Um,
Because I've heard
so
people
they
talk about this before.
Aclaro had actually hired an outside company to create a localization scavenger hunt around their office. I don't know the details because we never got to actually do this, and they were very secretive about it because they wanted even the committee to be out of the loop. But it was supposed to be an hour and a half long scavenger hunt running around
Oh,
the company.
oh
So
my goodness.
um, yeah, I was nervous about this, but also very excited. It was like a very conflicting feeling.
Well, what are they? But scavenger hunt. What do you look for on a scavenger hunt? This is what this is.
Got to talk to a Claro, man. I have
Okay.
no idea. They
Okay.
literally would give us nothing.
Well, anyways,
They were like, no,
the
not
point
fair.
my point that I was originally trying to make was that you guys have a lot of people that come in already
Mm,
to Monterey,
yeah.
so it's a great program that you guys have down there. Because I know a lot of the instructors. I know people that are
Mm,
like instructors that also dabble in
mm,
consulting, and I know
mm.
people that are just like full on business people, right?
Right.
And they
Exactly.
travel to Monterey to do it,
Mm,
right? And
hmm.
I'm one of them. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, my favorite thing is just that interacting with the students and making
Hmm.
connections because, as you said, they are the future local leaders of
Hmm.
of this industry. They're the leaders of the industry. So, I mean, and just from a cynical standpoint, so let's say you don't have an altruistic bone in your body. It's like these are going to be the people with budget in 10 years,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So, talk to them.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
And I
That's
think
what I
this is
say.
such an important conversation. Even like Miss, we are so well connected. We have so many opportunities, and I'm so grateful. But I'm really hoping that these conversations will push beyond Miss, like that other students will start similar initiatives in their areas. Like Brigham Young has their translation and localization club, and they're doing a lot of work there to build local community and to work with companies there and do something similar. So I think this is where a lot of students' minds are
And,
right
and
now.
who was that? Who's involved with that? Are you? Because I was just
Caleb Westfall.
okay. It seems like I was just talking to someone about that the other day. What's going on
Mhm.
over at Brigham Young?
They're doing a lot. They've created their own, they've even done, I feel like they've gone above and beyond because they've created their own LSP. They created like a translation week, and this is all student run. This is all their own initiatives that they're starting because they don't have the same structures and infrastructures that we have built into our institute.
In what way?
Um, So with Miss, we have our network that we're lucky to have, and we have professors who work in the localization industry, and we have like the Globe Multilingual Services, which was already created prior to me coming to the Institute. And so these structures, we're very blessed to have them, and we're building upon that. We're building upon and bridging gaps that exist in our mind. Whereas what the Translation and Localization Club is doing is there's not anyone doing that for them. So they created it. It's that bridging the gaps again.
Oh, okay. Lots of gaps to bridge. What's the so here's something to think about with this CampLoc. How have you thought about, like, for posterity, right? Because the nature of student-led initiatives is that students change, students graduate, students leave. So what's this going to look like? If you had a dream for what CampLoc is going to look like 5-10 years from now, what would it be? What would your role in that be?
Yes. So the dream is to not just be focused in Silicon Valley, because that's not the only place where localization exists.
Okay. But
We're hoping to
really?
really,
It's
yes.
a global industry. Yeah.
It'd be awesome if we can start off, LA, we could go to New York, we can explore Seattle. That would be a short-term goal. But if we could go global and include other organizations in this as well, not just MIIS students, because the initiative is for students of localization. So we could potentially expand this beyond MIIS if we're able to get the framework that we want.
Yeah.
So that's my dream.
I love it.
Is CampLoc goes global and all inclusive. Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I mean, not saying you'd want me. You want people that work in real localization programs. I just talk about localization programs these days. But let's say I was a director of localization at blah 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 company, the hottest new Silicon Valley thing, and I want to come give some of my time and let people know, open up my doors, so to speak, to students and give them an education. And I want to utilize CampLoc. Like, what's my time commitment on that? Like, how much commitment is it? And the reason I'm asking is because I know there's people out there that might be watching or might hear about this, but they're like, I'm so busy. Like, the best people are busy. That's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not very busy. What does that tell you? So, what's the time commitment?
It's actually pretty simple. So we essentially will shoot out an email and we'll say pretty in advance, like a couple of months in advance for the spring trip at least. And we'll say, hey, we're interested in doing this. And it'll just be the back and forth of deciding, like, what date would you like to do? The actual time commitment in person will be 2 hours at tops on one day during spring break.
That's nothing.
The main part is the communication and, like, getting the logistics figured out.
The logistics and just, like, the security of I'm assuming if you're coming into buildings and stuff, all of that stuff. I mean, exactly. You could spend half an hour just at the front desk trying to get all those badges printed out if you got a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. And we can take care of all of that is the main part. Like, we'll do any logistics that we can take on. And if that is a problem, we are also continuing with the virtual events moving forward, because we really did enjoy connecting with Keywords, which is located in LA, and Supertext. And we want to continue to build those kind of relationships. So maybe you can't do in person. Maybe you can't host that many students. There's still the virtual option as well.
Nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks for, shout out to Keywords and Supertext for your, all right. Anyone else we need to shout out?
Oh man, there's a list of 24 companies I could send to you.
List of 24 companies. Are they on the website?
They're not, but they should be.
They should.
We'll put them up there.
Shame.
No, we're messing up.
Shame. Okay. Get those poor sponsors on the website after all the support they've given you. Yeah.
We'll fix that tonight.
That's okay. That's okay. But this other topic that you wanted to touch on, but I don't have my notes here because I don't have my iPad. Just a general evangelization of.
Yeah, I think
what kills me is essentially I copied it into the description on the live stream, so I guess I can go look at it.
We could look at that.
All right. So Tucker and Autumn may also get into other topics Autumn is passionate about, such as the importance of evangelization from students to their previous colleges and high schools. Oh, talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I thought that's what you were saying.
So evangelization of former students to their previous university. So like alumni evangelizing for their alma mater. Am
Yes.
I understanding that correctly? Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Because we always talk about evangelization to our clients, right? We talk
Yeah.
about that on the client side and the importance of that. But we don't talk about the fact that localization itself, and the reason why it's not very well known is because it's not talked about enough. And I, as a linguist, was not aware that localization even existed until I started looking into MIIS. And so one thing that I'm very passionate about is going back to high schools or colleges, and talking about localization and the career paths that exist because people aren't aware, they don't know. And in order to foster the next generation of localization professionals, you need to um, get more people. And so I think it's really important that we not only talk to our clients, but we also talk to our colleges. We talk to the people that are coming next, the linguists that we know, and get them to understand that this is an option for them.
Okay, so I kind of misunderstood because I thought you were talking about like going and telling people like you should go to Middlebury Institute, like evangelizing
Not,
for the university. And I was like,
not
huh?
just Middlebury,
We
because
can do.
MIIS isn't the only path that exists.
Okay, you're just talking about in general, right?
Yeah, I don't want to. I go to MIIS. I've benefited greatly from MIIS, but there are so many different institutes that exist that have linguistic or TNI programs. There's so many different schools that are trying to shift and have more localization centered classes. And so I don't want to focus it more on MIIS. I
Hmm.
want to focus it on getting localization out there more, whether that's UW's program or our program or what Brigham Young is doing.
And God bless you, and God bless everybody doing this because I was, and I watched your thing this morning. I was almost a young black language geek growing up as well. Almost. I was most of those
Almost.
words. And I wanted to study like localization. And like I got on my dial up modem and like Googled, Yahoo'd probably, web crawlered, whatever it was, and like looked for different programs. And I remember Chico State was offering like a localization
Mm.
manager program down in California, but not much. There wasn't much, and it was like people did not used to like study to become localization professionals,
Mhm,
right? Like
mhm,
I remember to this today when I was watching your program that you were streaming earlier today. It said Autumn Smith, localization professional. That was your title, and I thought that's cool. That's cool because it's just like you're just a local. People like know what that is. People go to school for
mhm,
this. There are degree programs for it.
mhm,
And Middlebury. I mean, let's face it. I'm biased. I'm totally biased. But Middlebury is like one of. It is the one that people talk
mhm,
about. Like it's the
mhm,
prestigious one.
mhm.
And we also have University of Washington up here.
Yes.
I'm guest lecturing there in a few weeks. I think I need to probably
Mhm,
follow up on that. But they got a nice little program here. Lots of people from
mhm,
outside of the industry they pull in guest lecturers from all over the place,
mhm.
just like at Middlebury Institute, right? But sorry, I'm going off on a rant without a
No,
purpose
it's
again.
important. It's
But
important conversation.
it's an important conversation. And it's like, yeah, that's like why I wanted to have you here, right?
Mm,
It's like, when I see people, and I don't even remember if I reached out to you or you reached out to me or how that worked out. But it's a topic that I've been talking about a lot recently. Is just bridging this gap because it's that time of year with the students, and
mm,
my heart goes out to the students this year too because I feel we everybody, not just students, but everybody kind of just got a bum deal
mhm,
this
mhm.
year, right?
Yeah.
And thank God that the economy's picking back up. People are starting to
Mhm,
hire again because I can imagine how disheartening that would be to graduate and go into a market where nobody's hiring. Because getting that
yeah.
first job's tough. Which
Mhm.
was that news that you broke this morning about your new positions? Tell us about that.
Yeah.
When you'll be starting? Are you moving?
I am. So I'm going to start at Facebook as a localization program manager in June, at the end of
Woo!
June,
Oh,
and
I have a button for that one too. Yay!
oh, that's great. Um,
I love that.
I'm moving next week, actually, on Tuesday to San Francisco, since we're still remote.
Oh, San Francisco.
Yeah,
I thought you
I'm
might
pretty
be coming up
excited.
here to Seattle.
No, I did push for Seattle. I was
Oh,
going.
nice. So, is their localization team split between San Francisco and Seattle? Where are they located these days?
Menlo and Seattle and Dublin, I think, is where the majority of our localization
Cool.
team is.
Nice. Well, I'm not going to say best of luck to you. You don't need luck. Like, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
Facebook for recognizing Autumn Smith's excellence. Yeah, let me
Oh,
finish. I
no.
was congratulating Facebook, not you. So,
But
so
in going back to the job market, I
yeah,
think
keep me on
last year
topic
was
here.
really hard for the graduates. It was really difficult. But I think by the summer things started picking back up in terms of job offerings, and I think this year has been relatively active. Actually, I think most
Yeah,
people I know have already gotten job offers. Yeah, luckily.
nice. Give me a second. I am hell bent to fix this chat thing. That stall for time
Oh,
for me,
lovely.
Autumn. Here,
Okay.
there we go. I
But
was like,
yeah,
why
I
is this
think
chat down here? There we go. Bye,
perfect. I wanted to say sasuga in Japanese. I don't know if you know what that means,
Sasuka.
but
What is Sasuka?
it's like, of course you'd be able to do that. Like you're amazing, and that's definitely something you'd be able to figure out. Like Sasuga Tucker,
They have a
you
word
of
for
course.
that. That
Yeah, it's hard to explain in English, but
yeah, it would be because. Anyways,
okay.
anyways, yeah. It's this time of year. When's the commencement happening?
Saturday.
It's this Saturday, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
this
I put it
Saturday
on my
with
calendar. And how are they doing that with the
you'll be in
virtual?
the crowd. It'll be on Zoom. Yeah, that's pretty much all I know. There's going to be pictures of our faces with fancy quotes. Because
Like
that's
I
what.
said, 2020, everyone just kind of got, and the course that I do teach at Middlebury, it's just it's just, I mean, it's a workshop. It's a weekend workshop, right? So,
Mhm.
and I think it was one of the first courses to ever go virtual because it's like the
Mm,
pandemic hit and I was like, I already had my tickets booked, I think, to go to Monterey.
mm,
So I
mhm.
really quickly recorded it and everything, and I've used the same like lessons for the last 2 years now. And this year, I was just like, last year I think I like had a mandatory like you had to dial in on one of these dates kind of situation, just
Mm,
like do
mhm.
something, right? And this year I was like, you know what, optional. It's all optional. It's all optional. Like I love to talk to you, and it makes me sad when people don't show up to office hours. But me being sad is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. People have stuff that they're working on this year for sure.
Yeah. The Zoom fatigue is real, to be honest, and I think it's we definitely felt it this semester as we're getting closer to the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
Everyone, no one had their cameras on this semester. It was just all the boxes. It was really sad.
Yeah. Well, recharge and refresh
Mm.
people because summer's coming. Things are opening back up again. Conferences. What's the next conference you're going to?
I'm gonna do Look from Home. I think that's coming up very soon,
Nice.
May 27th, and I think that
Oh, I'm
after
speaking at
that,
that one. I
that
think.
reaction, Tucker. Oh,
No,
nice.
I'm not
Okay.
speaking. I've got it's way better. Okay, here's my shameless plug for Look from Home. Look for Home, May 27th. To join. I don't have my pitch, and I've forgotten people's last names. No, but we're doing a
Oh
panel.
no.
It's going to be awesome,
Oh, great.
and we are doing a panel. Now that I think about it, okay, we got to pull this up. This is how organized my life is here. But let's look from home. Let's see what that
Okay, I
gets
did have the
us.
day right. I'm very surprised.
May 27th.
Yep.
Watch, I'm like not even speaking here. I'm just making stuff
Is
up. I'm
there
just
is
making
there
stuff
not
up
a
to sound
panel?
cool.
That is the question.
I think Joseph, my colleague Joseph Kubowski, is smoking too. Show more. Yeah,
I
okay.
always love Look from Home. It's so
Oh,
chill.
maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not because it doesn't say. But
Tucker, false promises.
oh no, I am here. Check it out. Because here it is. Rising tides. Filling
Perfect.
the education gap in
Oh,
localization through mentorship and coaching.
this is perfect.
Bam! It ties into what we're talking
It
about today.
does.
That's why I wanted to show it to you.
I love it.
No, it's because I believe, and like my take on it is,
Mm,
I'm a big believer in mentorship and coaching, but like I don't
mm,
know what those words mean anymore. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like I
mm,
always
mhm.
need to define it, right?
Yes.
And I told these people we have an email chain talking with the moderators and stuff, and I said, "Here's one question I know I want to ask: is what's the difference between a mentor and a coach? What's the difference between
Mm,
mentorship and coaching? What's your answer,
mm,
Autumn? I'm always interested to hear.
mm.
Or is there one? I
Like,
mean, no right answer, no wrong
yeah,
answer.
yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't thought about it before, but I think in my head, a coach is more like they have a picture of how they want you to be, and they're helping you get to that path, versus a mentor um, doesn't have a picture of what they want you to be. They want you to become what you want to become, and they help give you the tips and tricks to become that. Um,
See, this
so
is why
that's
I
how I define
love
it.
asking this question because, god damn, I get insightful answers. Like every time I ask this question, I always think I know what she's gonna say, and I was like, I'd never heard that one before. So like a coach is like, all right, we're gonna get you to that goalpost, right?
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
goalpost is this objective. I have defined it, or somebody has defined it. Society has defined it.
Yes.
And a mentor is all about like helping you become your best self kind of
Yes.
thing. I like that.
Hmm.
I like that. Which do you prefer? Is there a time and place for one or both?
Yeah,
Or
it depends on your goal, I think. I usually enjoy mentor relationships because you learn from each other. But I think a
yes.
coach, if you're trying to get to a certain, for example, if I wanted to take the hop to become executive level one day, like working at an executive level, I would want someone to tell me what that looks like and the steps I need to take to get there because that's a bigger hurdle for me personally. Um, but just a day to day like life, like the mentor mentee program right now, I really enjoy just having someone to talk to and say, oh man, I'm not really feeling like I can make a decision about this and just brainstorming together.
And that's like a mentor. Yeah, I like that too. As you can tell, I'm still like processing this, right?
Yeah.
I'm still working through some stuff. But I kind of like cuz like what I used to say.
Mm,
And mind you, I haven't landed on the final thing yet. But what I used to say was like, you don't need a coach, you don't need a mentor, you need a friend, right?
mm,
Because I don't know, because I have issues with authority, I guess. I just don't like the dominance hierarchy that's
mm-hmm,
implied with a mentor mentee type relationship, especially within
mm,
the news. You see, I mean, just people abuse hierarchies, right? So it's like,
yeah.
I don't want anything to do with that. But let's talk,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm,
Let's talk, and maybe I have some value to add to you. Maybe you have some. You definitely have some value to add to me, right? And
mm-hmm,
I like to encourage team members at NIMSI
mm,
and at
mm-hmm,
Multilingual as well. Go, get involved in mentorship with someone. Doesn't have to be
mm,
formal. Doesn't need to be
mm-hmm,
through. I know there's formal programs. I think like Women in Loca has a program. I'm sure the
yeah.
different associations have programs. And those are great because they make it nice and easy. But sometimes the best things just happen organically. I think
Mm-hmm,
is
yeah.
is my opinion.
I think it's hard for some people to initiate those relationships on their own sometimes. Like sometimes you can
Yeah.
get that natural and organic one in relationship and that's obviously the best, but I've never had a mentor in my life. I've never had a mentee in my life. I've never known how to even initiate that or to start that. And so I think that it helps people who are less inclined to that because I'm also
Yeah.
someone who doesn't really like hierarchy, even though I lived in
Anything that
Japan.
breaks down barriers, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What were you saying about Japan?
I lived in Japan, but I don't like hierarchy.
Oh,
Um, so that you can see how that went. So I was always kind of like the same, kind of like, why would I have someone telling me how to live my life? I don't really want that, but that's not what it is at all. And I wouldn't have known that had I not participated in a program like this.
yeah, yeah. So, well, I will continue.
To brainstorm, to mull.
I'll continue to brainstorm to mull. I like this. Let me know how I can help. How NIMSY, multilingual, any of the stuff that we've got going. Oh, sorry, get close to the mic. Any of the stuff that we've got going on over here, we can help with this because it's a good initiative.
I think just continuing to be on the lookout for things like this, like students who are wanting to do something and they don't have someone to help them to push them. I just love getting the word out to say like, hey, we can work with students, we can do this with you guys, and just being open to that is always the best thing, I think, because students are always taking a risk to say, hey, I know I might annoy you by asking you this, or you might feel like this is a nuisance, but just being
Students are always like, oh, I don't want to bother you, sir. Please humbly request that, can you please do me the favor of
yeah.
filling out this survey? And you're like, okay, whoa, Nitro, like, sure, yeah, I'll fill out your survey. And then you open the survey, and it's like they want you to write a freaking thesis. I'm like, okay,
Oh
let's
man.
talk about survey methodology. Like, first thing, I know you're excited about your PhD, but I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours and fill out your survey, right?
No.
Sorry, that was just a pet peeve of mine. But yeah,
Agreed.
students have to. Look at me. Students have to. I'm not going to sit here and tell what students have to do.
Hierarchy.
But exactly. But I encourage students to, find their voice, use that voice, and don't be ashamed of it. Your voice does not have to be what the man expects it to be. It doesn't need to be what you expect it to be, right? Authenticity, right? Just go out there and do awesome things, and you are awesome, right? And get over this whole, like, oh, I don't have any job experience. Well, it's like, you do. I was talking to someone the other day who's awesome and said, oh, I don't want to apply for this role because it requires 2 years of managing financial budgets. I'm like, you ever balance a checkbook? Do you have the Bank of America app on your phone? Do you use it? You've balanced budgets, right? You've managed budgets before. Apply for the job. Just apply. This is what I think. I'm saying this every time I get a microphone in front of me. I say, apply for the job, right? You've got nothing to lose, right? I mean, don't go completely crazy, but yeah, if something's requiring 5 years experience on 10 different things and you have 9 of them, apply. Even if you have 5 of them, apply.
And that's what these initiatives are so great for, because people are like, I don't have experience. Like, well, you can make your experience. You can do it. You can just start something. And just that initiative in itself is just what propels you forward. So.
Well, I'm always impressed as shit when I, go here, like over here, like just looking at your LinkedIn profile, because you're a great example of it here. It's like, look at all this stuff you got going on here, right? Editor-in-chief on the trip. TLM student ambassador, right? And I know some of these are past, but it's like, you've done a lot. Like, you leverage. And hey, I'm not trying to, like, make you blush or anything.
Yeah, I'm like, compliments, don't know what to do with
them. I know, cannot compute. No, I'm the same way. But, it's just an example of, there's a reason you're starting at Facebook here in a few months, right? And because, guess what? You interned there. Guess what? You were active. Guess what? You're doing all of this cool stuff, right? I loved it. I watched you on this. Okay, I'm seriously last like butt kiss here, but I watched you this morning, and I was like, how do we get her to speak more for multilingual, right? Because you're doing great work, and I'm excited to see where your career is going to go. Autumn. And
I'm happy to be here, honestly. And I think that having more students and more, I think as students, we think we can't be on these stages. And so getting these opportunities is just amazing for me.
Well, spread the word. I have low standards around these parts. We'll bring anybody up on stage. They let me up here with a microphone. So, but yeah, you got, Autumn, we'll have you back. Anytime you want to come talk, anytime you got something to say, let us know. And I think this is a good. Oh my gosh, have we been doing this for an hour? No.
Oh wow.
No.
No way.
45 minutes. 45 minutes.
Okay, there we go.
Still though. Okay. Well, with that, thank you all for watching. Let me tell you, Nimsy Insights is us. We do market research and consulting for the language services industry, and basically any company that wants to go global. We do go-to-market research, language, technology, stack, evaluation, auditing, implementation, consulting of you name it. Reach out if you want more information. Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to MZ Insights, because when we do these pop-up events, you're not going to get notified of them because we don't market them. We don't do any of that stuff because that's extra work. I just want to have interesting conversations with cool people like Autumn here. So, Autumn, closing words. Close us out as I play us out here.
Students have a lot to give, and I'm so glad that I'm able to be here as a voice for the future generation of localization professionals.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Autumn, and we will see you all next time. Ciao.